Hey, this is Judd from Gensyn, and today we're going to look at and take a bit of a dive into the agent exchange layer. So the agent exchange layer is a decentralized peer-to-peer networking layer built by Gensyn that lets tools, agents, machine learning workloads, inference, run on nodes that can discover each other and communicate in this completely encrypted environment. So today we're going to go through AXL, what it is, some things that you can build with it, and we'll run through a demo at the end. And let's get started. So what is the agent exchange layer? It's a peer-to-peer mesh network. It's a single Go binary, and it handles all the networking. So message routing, all types of encrypted messages of any kind, as long as it's bytes. NAT traversal. These nodes that are connected to this network, they join a bootstrap network, and then if one of these nodes were to expose a public key, other nodes can connect to that node, deliver payloads, send and receive, post, use different tools like MCP and agent-to-agent. These apps that are running on these nodes only talk to localhost. So they send HTTP requests to localhost entirely. The default port for that is 9002, but you can, of course, change this. And you can use any language that you want. So any language, as long as you can make an HTTP request, will work. So like JavaScript, Go, Python, etc. It's entirely application agnostic, so you can send pretty much anything as long as it's in bytes. And again, the way that these nodes find each other once they're connected to a bootstrap node is they have essentially a phone number. So each node has a private key and a public key, and if you expose a public key, you can send that to somebody, you can post it somewhere, and people will be able to connect to your node and see what applications you have that are deployed on your node. So at no point does any of this message routing, any of this connection go through any kind of central server. It's purely peer-to-peer. It is truly peer-to-peer. There's no port forwarding, there's no cloud accounts, there's no DNS, there's no root or kernel requirements. It runs completely in user space. Nodes, once they're spun up, are again sending HTTP requests. The port selected at your localhost, so again, by default 9002. And anytime that nodes communicate with each other with a public key, if you decide to share it, they are pinging each other directly through a mesh network, but there's no central server. And you can also create your own bootstrap nodes as well, so you don't even have to use public ones. So your application interacts with a node through three very simple HTTP endpoints. The first of these is called post/send. This is what lets you send data to another peer using their public key, which we mentioned earlier. The second is get/receive, and this is what you use to pull incoming messages, and each time one message is received, the previous one is dequeued. The third of these is get/topology. This gives you your public key, which will print to your terminal, and it'll also let you see who else is connected to whatever bootstrap node you are also connected to. That's it. That's the whole API for basic use. It's send data, receive data, and figure out who you are and who's around, pretty much. So as far as encryption is concerned, when your node is connected to the mesh network, it means that you're also connected to a bootstrap node. And when you are sending messages from one node to another, or sending data from one node to another, essentially your message content might be passed through other nodes, but it's still completely encrypted because none of those nodes are able to see what is being sent. They're able to see that there's a handoff happening somewhere and maybe the return and sender address essentially, but there's no way that they can tell what the contents of that message are. There's two layers of security or encryption at work here. The first one is TLS service hop by hop. So from each time you hop from one, or when the message hops from one node to another, it's encrypted. And then there's also an end-to-end payload encryption as well. And that's what's really nice about using something like AXL, because you don't have to configure any transport layer security at all yourself. It's already built in. So now let's talk a bit about building using AXL. So the starting pattern for pretty much everything is the send and receive pattern. So there's two applications on two different nodes, and one of them has to be a sender and the other a receiver. One node is going to be using the post/send method with the destination's peer key, so it knows where it's going, and then the payload as the body. The other app is going to be pulling get/receive, popping each of those messages off of that queue of receiving messages, and provide the sender's key as well. So both the sender and the receiving nodes both know who is sending what and who's receiving what, because you have to surface that public key, not the private key, but that public node key, which again is like that cell phone number that we've discussed earlier. And everything is going through this mesh network of nodes. Agents can use this. You can create peer-to-peer chat rooms. You can create distributed machine learning, decentralized machine learning inference pipelines. You can have agents communicating with each other, doing research on local devices, and then taking that information and creating these little context packets for use for, let's say, trading on something like Delphi. If you have the Delphi SDK and the Delphi skills installed. There's a lot you can do with AXL. And then when you need a structured response, AXL also supports MCP and A2A. MCP, or Model Context Protocol, allows you to expose named services running on your node and then allow other nodes, if they have the service name and your public key, to call those and receive a structured JSON-RPC response. And then we have A2A as well. So A2A is Google's agent protocol. It allows skills to be posted as services in a way on your node and allow other agents to find and access those skills. By the way, both of these A2A and MCP are in the AXL repo, so you can look at those, and there's also some documented examples. But for getting started and building something on those nodes, the send and receive methods are pretty much going to be the backbone of whatever you build. All right, so now that we know a bit more about AXL, let's run through the very short checklist to clone the repo, get it running, spin up a node, and get building. You're going to want to clone the repo, cd into it, and then use the build command. Generate your identity, which is going to generate your private key. Never share this, please. Do not share this. And then you're going to configure the node and generate your public key and connect to a bootstrap node. And then you're going to launch and verify everything. All these instructions and a lot more detail can be found in the documentation on docs.gensyn.ai/tech/agent exchange layer. There's also the get started page, troubleshooting. We'll get more to some of those other resources later, but you can find everything right there as well. So what are some of the things that you can build with AXL? Well, for starters, you could build something that revolves around agent collaboration. So you can imagine two agents working on a research problem. One of them is finding information using web tools, aggregating context. The other one is synthesizing the findings, the context, into something that's actionable, completely coordinating with no central coordinator. Each running its own node, so there's no server deciding which agent talks to which agent at all. They simply find each other by the public keys and go. You could also build a service registry, like a tool marketplace or pub, sub, and gossip, which is an example that does ship with the repo, where tools are published as services, and then other agents can use MCP to find and then utilize those tools. There's also the opportunity for private data exchange, to where you have financial information, model outputs, medical data, all types of sensitive data from one peer to another, essentially in plain sight. Because again, other nodes can see that there's transmissions being made, but there's two layers of encryption. There's the hop-by-hop TLS, and then there's the end-to-end encryption as well. And so you can send whatever you want, and nobody would know what you're sending. You could do something with distributed inference, where you take a model, split it up across different nodes in the same mesh network, and exchange tensors directly, which you could then extend into something like pipeline parallelism, which essentially you take that model and that inference workload, you split one task on one task on one task from different nodes. Each one of those nodes does its part and passes the activation on to the next one. So there's a lot that you can do here. And then there's, of course, anything peer-to-peer. So multiplayer, voting, live editing, messaging, anything at all that requires two machines talking to each other that you don't want to be centralized on somebody else's hardware. AXL handles the transport layer between those machines. 2 machines, 3 machines, 4 machines, 100 machines, build whatever you want. And just a reminder that if you want some inspiration, the AXL repo also comes packaged with a good few examples that are also documented. So Converge Cast, Gossip Sub, Tensor Exchange, and of course the A2A client. So you can just take one of those, fork it as a starting point, and see where it gets you. And it doesn't have to be anything necessarily that's AI related. If AXL fits a use case that you have in mind, go for it. All right, so now we know a bit about AXL. We know what we can do with it, how it works, how to get started, some of the things that you can build with it. Let's show what that looks like. So this is a really simple peer-to-peer messaging app, a group chat that I built using AXL. It's a fairly straightforward application that uses some of the requests that we've been talking about, the post and the receive. It also incorporates agents. So I have an OpenClaw agent set up on one device running in one terminal. So I have the gateway auth token there. And I've got 4 total terminals. I've got 2 sets of 2. 2 of these are sitting within cursor, which we'll see in a second. And then 2 of these are in a dedicated terminal instance, just so I can flip back and forth pretty easily. So I've configured them both to both be listening to the same TCP, the same port, so that I can simulate a second device also pointing at its own localhost, but knowing my first node's public key and being able to essentially join that chat room. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to open up the service here, which is the AXL group chat, give myself a name, and then name my OpenClaw agent instance, Mr. Guy. And let's go ahead and change the theme here a little bit just to make it really clear who's who. So I'm going to type a message, and now let's head over here and get started. So because I'm running 2 nodes and I'm trying to simulate a second device connecting, a second node connecting to the service I have here, I've got one OpenClaw instance, so I'm not going to trip things up by bringing in an agent with me to both of these instances, but that's a feature of this demo app here. This was designed so that multiple people could call and use one API key's worth of OpenClaw agents. So one person brings an agent through with their OpenClaw gateway authorization token, their key, and then multiple people can chat with it, they can call it, they can use it, and the OpenClaw agent itself is actually being passed. It's all the messages in the chat are being fanned out and then appended to a context blob that's sent along with each query to the agent. So the agent can participate, can see the surroundings, can see all of the messages that are being sent, and multiple people can essentially share for the duration of one conversation an agent. So I'm going to type in a name, which is guest, but we're not going to hit that second name selection. So I'm going to say hello, and I'm going to go over here and see that guest has said hello. So now this is 2 nodes on the same, connected to the same bootstrap peer that are messaging each other. And then the Mr. Guy, hey, what is the temperature in Barbados? So I'm going to post that message, and I've configured this in such a way where I don't want the agent to be constantly responding to everything. So I just gave it a at name here so that it can be called at any point. Well, it looks like Mr. Guy doesn't have any live weather data, so I will say, what is 1 + 1, and what is blue, and switch over here to the other instance here, blue and yellow create. What color? Send that message, hop over back over here, and then do Mr. Guy, can you answer those 2 questions? And so now what I'm showing here is that there are multiple users in this chat room that are able to both use the agent by calling it specifically, and it's not going to ignore the messages of the other. So one node connects to the other node's service, but the OpenAI instance or the OpenClaw instance is on one of those machines being run through that flag, and other people are able to essentially use that. So what's happening here? One of the nodes is doing the post-send HTTP request from one node to the other. The other one is receiving it with the other node's key, and then the other one is doing the receive in a loop. As you can see, we can send messages back and forth. It's completely bidirectional, and the node is handling everything. The message routing, the delivery, the encryption, and the chat app is really just HTTP calls to localhost. All the hard stuff is in the node. It's the functionality, it's the infrastructure components that make up AXL. You could build this in an hour and go a lot further than this. Everything that you need to get started, to get up and running with AXL is in the AXL repo. You can clone into everything. You can read some of the included documentation, get started. But again, all the resources can be found in that repo. And if you hit a wall, we have troubleshooting documentation and a Discord community that you can join at any point to ask questions. Of course, you have a wealth of documentation over on our docs platform. And that's a wrap. So I am super excited to see what you build with this. So get out there and build something cool. Thanks for watching.